Hi guys, welcome back to Learn Turkish the Easy Way channel. This is a kind of extraordinary live session that I specifically organized to clarify one issue in regard to the topic we discussed yesterday. Yesterday we discussed present tense, simple present tense in Turkish language, and one of the things that people were asking is how we identify which endings we have to add to the affirmative form of the present tense, because there are basically 6 cases, right? Let me open that file too for you. Basically there were 6 possible endings that you could add to present tense, right? Affirmative form, and this was basically, remember this picture. Let me open it for you. This one. So we had basically 6 possible cases, right? Remember, 6 possible endings that we could add to the root of the verb in order to make it present tense. And the question was, how do we understand which ending are, ur, ir, ur, or ur to add to the root of the verb? Now, during that lesson I specifically told you not to think about that very much, because if you stick to a specific rule you will be thinking too much. You will be overthinking. What letter it is, what is the last vowel in the verb root, and so on. But still, because certain people really insisted on the kind of finding specific rules, so I basically created one single picture for you where all the rules are written. And there are basically 2 broad rules, okay? 2 broad rules. Let me bring that also picture to you. So basically it is about, as Fabiola had asked that question about the syllable side, right? So the size of, the number of the syllables and so on. Part of it is that, yes, part of that of the rule is number of the syllables that the verb root has. But because there are exceptions, I kind of avoided to explain that specifically. But let's really talk about this, because ultimately I see that people are really kind of confused about which of the 6 endings to use. So let's have this rule clarified, okay? So basically, let me also put that one. So basically we have 2 general rules. The first rule is, if the root of the verb, which means the verb without mak, right? We have to throw away mak in the verb. So if the root of the verb, which is without mak, ends in a vowel, the only rule is that we add only r, okay? The letter r, nothing else. It's valid for all verbs without the regard to any number of syllables, anything. So if the root of the verb ends in a vowel, the only thing you have to do is just to add letter r, okay? Re. The second, if that is not the case, if the root of the verb doesn't end in a vowel, then there are two options. So the first option is you have to look at the last vowel in the syllable of the root of the verb, okay? So if the last vowel is, if we have, the first case is what? If it's 1 syllable, if the root of the verb is composed of 1 syllable only, then it is either R or R, that's it. But here we have to look at the vowel hardness or softness. If the vowel in the 1 syllable verb root is a hard vowel, which is A, E, O, U, then it will be R. And if the vowel is soft vowel, A, E, E, U, one of those, then you will add R. But there are 13 verbs which are exception to this rule, okay? It's an exception to 1 syllable rule. All of the 13 verbs that you see here, I specifically wrote them with the translations for you to see. Okay, those 13 verbs don't apply to this rule. They are all 1 syllable verbs when it comes to their root, but they don't apply. They don't kind of go by this rule. They have different endings, ir, ur, whatever, but not necessarily r or r. Okay. So basically, for the second one, if the root of the verb doesn't end in a vowel, then we'll look at the number of syllables. If it's 1 syllable, if the root of the verb is 1 syllable, then you look at the last vowel. If it's hard vowel, it will be R. If it's a soft vowel, it will be R, considering the exceptions in mind, okay? Don't forget the exceptions. And there are only 13 of them, so it's not necessarily a big number, but if you just memorize them by using, you'll be okay. And second, if the number of syllables in the root of the verb is more than one, then there are only 4 cases, of course. If the last vowel is a, then it will be ur. If the last vowel is e or e, it will be ir. If the last vowel is o, u, it will be ur. And by the way, I have never heard of any verb with more than 1 syllables that ends in o. In u there are many, but o I don't know, but I just still put it there, okay? And last one, if the verb root ends in e or u, then it will be ur. And again, I don't remember any word, I don't know any Turkish verb where the last vowel in the verb of the root more than 1 syllable has okay? So or o are not basically the cases, so you will be having u requiring ur and u requiring ur. That's it, okay? So this is basically the rule for you, so you should not be you should not be confused from now on. Look at just 2 things, or 3 things, okay? So the question is the root of the verb ending in a vowel? If yes, then just add r, that's it. If no, then look at the number of syllables. If 1 syllable, then hard vowels require r, soft vowels require r, considering the exceptions together, okay? But if the number of the syllables is more than 1, then a requires ur, e requires ir, o requires ur, and e requires ur. Okay, we talk about the last vowels in the syllables, okay? That's it. This is basically the rule. I hope it's clarified for you. So I created this section specifically to clarify this one thing. I don't know whether there are even people connected, online right now. So if you have any questions, you can point them. You can mention them right now. If not, I will just end this video. It was supposed to be short, just to clarify this thing. Okay. You can. I will put this link under the present tense under the simple present tense video, so that people also see this rule under that video and don't have very much confusion about this, because this is probably the most difficult tense in terms of having multiple endings, different endings. But I think from this point on, you should not have any difficulty in terms of knowing which endings you should use. That's it. Rima, thank you too. Teşekkür ederim. Ben de teşekkür ederim. Hoş geldin bu arada. Any questions? Anything before I finish? No? So Fabiola should be happy about this. There was one more comment about this too. I don't remember the name of the commenter, but it was also about this kind of endings, about the rule, to finding the rule. So I developed a much broader rule for you. I don't know how much energy you will spend to kind of keep it in mind, this rule, but this is not necessarily complex. It's not very complex. I think it's easier, and again, the more you read, okay, the more you kind of read texts and kind of Turkish paragraphs, words, the more your brain will memorize it by itself without extra energy to remember them. Okay, I think it's done. So there are no comments. See you all in the next sessions. Enjoy the weekend. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow during our class, evening class, grammar class, during which we will cover present continuous tense in Turkish language. Okay, tomorrow night we will be covering present continuous tense. See you tomorrow, and if you are still not subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to do so. and I appreciate any feedback, comments or likes to the videos. Görüşürüz arkadaşlar. Yarın görüşmek üzere.